oh, you want towel radiators? That'll be an extra £1,000. Why are you looking at my ear?
I'm not looking at your ear.
You just looked inside my ear.
Yeah, see what it's like. Come on. Come on. If this is a big fat foot, that was a fucking snowman.
What, my foot?
They're huge.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video of ours. I am so sorry we have not been on here in ages talking about house content. So if you are new to the channel, then we do a lot of house videos on there. We talk about buying a new build, shared ownership, help to buy. We talk briefly about that. So if you do like that kind of content, then definitely think about checking out the house series playlist, which is on the channel, and you can watch all of those kind of videos. But today we wanted to talk about hidden costs when buying a property that you maybe don't consider when you first think about obviously putting an offer in. So some of these apply to new builds, but mostly it applies to just general properties on the market that you can purchase.
We're not experts, are we? But we've experienced a lot. And getting one flat and then buying a house, you just learn these things. It just naturally comes up. But it would have been nice to have a guide like this, wouldn't it, at the beginning, to realise, because a lot of people just think, right, I buy my house and I need a 10% deposit, job done. Well, that's true for the mortgage, but then a lot of other things come into it.
Yeah, we wrote a little list, which is why I'm going to be looking at the phone. So the first one we've got is an estate maintenance fee. Now this is definitely on all new build properties here in the UK. I don't know if that's the same in other countries if you're watching from there. But Sean actually said to me earlier that he thinks that's on normal properties that aren't within a new build development as well, some of them. So just
it depends if there's ground. It depends if there's a lot of things that need maintaining, which is not in your property. And this one's really pertinent because I got caught out when I bought my first flat. So I used a mortgage broker, so it was his fault, but he didn't realise the maintenance charge was as much as it was. So when I got my decision in principle, he didn't put that, he put it down as like 20 quid, and it was 120 quid because it was a block of flats, and that little difference was enough to knock me out of the range for the mortgage. I put an offer in on a flat, it got accepted, the woman was ready, she went and put a bid on another house, and it fell through because of that maintenance charge.
Did you 120 quid about him?
He was my friend, so I used him again. He was very good second time round, so if you need a recommendation.
He learned from his mistake. Maintenance charges, obviously, on our new build, it should cover you for, like, if you've got greenery around that needs cutting down, if you've got any play areas for children, which in our development is absolutely disgusting. We took them to the park. It's all overgrown as hell at the bottom of the slide, to the point where it's really, really dangerous.
But what do we, ours is about 35 quid a month here.
Yeah, and I think for a long time nothing was actually being done, so a lot of us did actually complain about having to pay it for the first year or two. And now I have seen guys come around and like trim back bushes and cut down the grass, but the play area is really, really awful. But you can raise that with the maintenance company, because it won't be the property developer. They then kind of off branch it to a separate company. That's right. Yeah. And then they're the people that manage it.
Yeah. So it starts with the builders, and eventually they pass it over.
So yeah, just check the amount. Obviously, when you're looking around a development and you're considering buying on a new build and an older property, just check if there's any like maintenance fees or estate fees, because that is something you're going to have to factor in to your monthly costings.
Mortgage protection as well is a bit of a random one, which when it first comes up you think, okay, what is that all about? But basically, to get the mortgage you have to have mortgage life insurance effectively. So it effectively means that because the bank has an interest, obviously a financial interest in the property, so if we did die, God forbid, the bank would obviously be way out of pocket, which they obviously don't want. So you have to get life insurance to cover it. You know, and again, these things don't seem like much, but that's an extra 40 quid a month. It adds right up. Especially for Elise, bless her, she's got Crohn's. So our life insurance is quite expensive.
Bless me. So it's worth considering, and again, I'm assuming that price can vary.
Yeah, it'll be different for every single person, how old you are, whether you smoke, how ill you are.
So we've written down additional extras. So this is specifically for a new build property, and they will get you guys on, oh, you want towel radiators? That'll be an extra £1,000. Oh, you'd like carpets? That will be an extra £1,000. Oh, you'd like a tap outside? An electrical plug? That will be an extra £1,000. Obviously I'm making up those figures, but they will try and charge you for every additional extra. We were really lucky in this property where a lady actually purchased this house. She paid for all of the bathrooms to be tiled, which is an additional extra, which they would have charged her a lot of money for. We've had the downstairs tiled, which again she paid for. And she also had a tap put outside, electrical plugs put outside, and then in the garage we had electrical plugs put in. Again, she had already paid for that. So things like that can cost you a lot of money, and I guess when you're looking around the show home you just instantly assume that, oh, this is part of the amount that I'm going to pay for the house, but it's not. They can really catch you out.
And they make quite a lot of money on these things, don't they?
God,
So
yeah.
we shopped around for our carpet, and we got it for like half the price, and we were really happy with it.
Yeah, they will charge you, I guess, the premium of the convenience, but I think ours was probably way more than the typical like Bellway, Redrow, the bigger developers. We kind of went with a smaller developer, but still they wanted a lot of money for it. You could be looking at probably 4 or 5 grand more to have carpets, light fittings, things like that just already installed for when you move in.
Yeah, without the carpet, I think our extras were just under 3 grand. I think they were 2,850 or something like that, and that's without the carpet.
So yeah, just something to be mindful of. Ask them. And again, with a new build, you always have the benefit of being able to negotiate your price a little bit, because ultimately they want to sell that house to continue on with the build, so there is room for negotiating in terms of the final price or what you can get included of that. So don't be afraid to say, oh, okay, but with that price, if you want us to pay this, we would like carpets or blinds, or we would like the towel radiators and this. You can be cheeky and ask that, because you don't have that benefit of when you're buying like an older house to obviously have that stuff negotiated in, which is a perk of buying a new build in my opinion.
Me too, definitely.
Oh, we've got a little guest behind us, Fluffy Tail. Come on in, lie down. Oh, hiya. Oh, I love you too.
Thank you. Sometimes when you're mortgaging or remortgaging, the bank does ask you to get a valuation report. I definitely had to do it for my shared ownership property. So a chartered surveyor has to come out and properly weigh up how much the property is going to cost. You know, it's not just an estate agent putting his finger in the air and saying, you know, that's 400 grand. They come out and do it properly, and sometimes they do charge for that. And again, we were right, our bank did it for free. Other banks wanted to charge for it. Some, I think, would give it back if you ended up going with them, but some didn't. And again, just be mindful, it's just a payment out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it can vary anything from like 100 to 250, but I'm really not like 100% on that. So again, it probably varies bank to bank, like Sean said, to just check it, because it is just an added expense. So the next point is estate agent fees, which is kind of a given, but again, I think you kind of underestimate how much they can cost.
Yeah, obviously this is only if you're selling your property to move into the next one, but it sounds quite obvious, but you don't think about it. All of a sudden, right, I've got to sell my house, and it's quite a lot. When I was selling my flat, I think it cost me 2.5 grand to the estate agent, which again, you know, you just think, shit, I didn't think about that. Yeah. I didn't think about that, and obviously goes out of the equity that you make in the property. So, you know, you've got to add that, you've got to be mindful of that and make sure it's in your calculations.
And again, I think it can be within the thousands rather than the hundreds. So again, it's quite a big figure to account for. And that kind of leads us perfectly onto the next point, which is solicitor fees, another big one, kind of similar to the estate agent fees in terms of figures, if not a little bit more. Yeah, I think. Again,
it just depends on the property, it depends on a lot of different things. And
they're the most frustrating ones as well, solicitors, because they are a pain in the ass.
And they charge you just money for everything. It's just, you know, money to print, money to send. It's just ridiculous. So always shop around. I think solicitors is just like, it is a negotiable price, isn't it? We got a price from our solicitor, he said that's a little bit too much. I think he knocked it down by 25%. And it's just another thing you don't really think of when you buy your first property. All these things just don't contribute towards that 10% deposit.
Yeah, you just think you need your 10% deposit, don't you? But then there's like 2 grand here, 3 grand here,
that's what we keep saying. Yeah, it's not a 10%. You probably need a 15%. You probably need 15% of the value of the house, 10% of which goes down for the mortgage.
So the last point we've got is stamp duty, which is a really obvious one. So yeah, stamp duty is a big amount, and the benefit again with a new build, sometimes you can negotiate that into your mortgage. So if you don't have for example, £8,000 sitting aside, which is what we had to pay, which we didn't have, we wouldn't have been able to have got this house, but luckily we negotiated that into the mortgage. So we were very lucky. That's something to consider, and ask the question, guys, because it might really help you out.
Again, with the stamp duty, you can shop around and see what deals are on, not just with banks but also the government. Obviously first buyers, they get a bit of money off. Last year they got rid of stamp duty a bit, didn't they, to try and kickstart the housing market. So do your research, and sometimes you know when one's coming, so you know you could be in that time frame where you might wait a couple of months and you get your stamp duty for free. For example, my brother's first house, his bank was running an offer which was they pay for the stamp duty up to a certain value of the house. if you went with them, signed up for like a 5-year deal.
Yeah,
So
which is a
some of these
huge
deals
step
do
and block,
exist.
isn't it, for people? It's a big help because it's a large chunk of. I'd probably say it's the biggest cost, sitting behind the 10% deposit that
Yeah,
you're expected
definitely.
to pay. So,
But also, again, you know, 90% of people might think that's pretty obvious, but not everybody. Some people just don't understand that these costs exist. You know, and stamp duty, I don't think anyone really knows, it's just a tax to the government for you having the right to buy a property which is on their land.
but yeah, guys, we hope these points have kind of helped you just make note as to the expense that maybe comes with buying a house. I know a lot of them are very obvious ones, but a lot of them are things that I think you just assume that you get and you may not consider. So we hope this video has been helpful. Let us know in the comments. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we will be back soon with another video. Bye.
Well, not.
You look cute, yeah.
Not big,